find your roses have rose rosette?
Unfortunately, we don't have any cure or anything like that yet, so we're recommending that you dig it up, bag it, and throw it away in the trash.
Wow. So once you dig up that plant, can I plant another rose, or do I have to avoid them?
Well, right now I'm going to go back in with a rose. I probably wouldn't do a knockout rose because they seem to be really susceptible. But, and then if you're going to do another rose, make sure you've gotten all the roots out of there of the previous rose. And then be prepared to monitor that rose frequently, because we don't want to keep spreading rose rosette. There's different kinds of shrubs and things like that that's on their website, dcmga.com. And then also the Metroplex is hosting a conference coming up, so save the date for that class, November 12th, where you can, there's a lot of still unknowns. So Courtney, what kind of questions are you getting?
Well, you mentioned a witch's broom. It's funny, I was teaching a nutrition program last week, and the question that I received was, we were talking about Halloween. With October being here, my kids candy, we don't eat a whole lot of candy at home. But there was some concern in the room from some moms about all of the candy that kids tend to consume during Halloween. So we were talking about some healthy alternatives to all of this sweets and sugary stuff. So what I did was kind of come up with a few options. They're sealed, so I wouldn't hesitate if my child went and knocked on somebody's door for trick or treat and they got these. They're sealed, so you know that there's not any potential for food contamination. But all we did was draw some little jack-o'-lantern faces on them. You want to make sure if you're picking the fruit cups that you pick fruit cups that are % juice to cut down on the sugar. Otherwise, you might as well hand them a candy bar. Okay, so we've got that. Another thing I did, I bought a bag of clementines or tangerines, drew some Halloween faces on those. Or you could even get a juice box. We've got some little mummies here that we've used with the juice boxes. And so duct tape works. The duct tape I couldn't find was really thick, so I ended up using some first aid tape I happen to have at home, glued on some wiggly eyes, and those are fun juice boxes. Again, though, if you're using the juice boxes, you want to make sure that they're 100% fruit juice and not a whole lot of added.
Isn't there some sort of gauze tape that might work too?
Yeah, anything white, anything white. The gauze tape you'd have to be careful with just because you could see through. So if you don't want the graphics to show, then you might want to just be careful with that. But it's something fun. My kids, we were putting these together and my kids were really Jessica, what's going on in 4-H?
Well, right now with school kind of getting into the swing of things now, it's time, and everyone's talking about clubs and what to do. It's time to start thinking about how do I get involved. Well, in 4-H especially, there comes the boundary line question. If I live in Tarrant County, can I go and be a part of Denton County 4-H? Well, the answer is yes. If you go to school in Denton County, not necessarily Denton ISD, but you're eligible to participate in Denton County 4-H.
So they don't have to live within the county lines?
They don't.
As long as you go to school here.
Right. And one way to solve, if you live in that county and go to school in this county and answer some questions is when you enroll in 4-H on 4-H Connect, you actually in what county you're participating in. So it makes them decide which way so they can't double dip and keeps things fair. So David, have you been getting any questions about bugs lately?
Oh, have I? This is the part where I'd like to talk about what's bugging you. We've got a lot of crickets flying around.
I killed 3 in the office this morning.
There you go. I was giving a presentation last night, and we had crickets all over the place. This is just that time of year where we get a migration of field crickets coming in. And what's happening to them is they're having mating flights. And everybody, the bad thing about the get-togethers is that if you have lights on outside, it'll attract them. And it's just one of those things that you don't want a lot of crow in, and we want to slow down how much they're getting into the houses or how much they're getting into the buildings. And the way we do that is, again, we turn off as much lighting outside as we can. Again, take into account security. You want any unnecessary light, get rid of it. And then what we want to do is we want to find any holes out there, and we want to replace, plug the holes or put sweeps on the bottom of the doors even. Anything that we can do to keep the crickets from trying to come in. Because right now, they will come in and become a nuisance. And then finally, what we want to do is use a labeled pesticide to treat and keep them out of there. Basically what we're doing is we're killing them. There's several different ones labeled. Labeled insecticide, make sure you read and follow the label directions because the label's the law. And we need to make sure that we follow that.
Or homeowners can just call their local pest control company.
That is another option. Homeowners can always call their local pest control company.
Awesome.
Yes.
One way to be involved in the county this month, and something that's very large for 4-H is happening, is our one-day 4-H project. As we talked about earlier in the program, 4-H has a large hand in community service and giving back to our community that we live in. One way we chose to do that week, that is raining from October 3rd to October 7th this month. And we have several activities happening throughout the week around the county, and we're closing out the week with our one big day celebration and service project. This year our service project is volunteering at Shiloh Large Community Garden here in town, where everyone in the county can go and get a plot if they're interested. Part of our project is to go in and help clean and prepare beds and help preserve anything that might be left for the fall. As we go on and celebrate National 4-H Week, please check out the calendar and call the office if you have any questions.
As we wrap up here today, we're leaving you with a calendar of events that's happening, and we would really encourage you to send us your questions at agrilifeanswers@dentoncounty.com, or find us on Facebook, or give us a call. Thank you. Welcome to AgriLife Answers. We're Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, and we provide quality, research-based education to the citizens of Denton County. I'm Janet Laminack. I'm a County Extension Agent in Horticulture, and with me today are Courtney Davis, our County Extension Agent, David Annis, our County Extension Agent in Agriculture and Natural Resources. Thanks for joining us.
Did you know that each year 1 in 6 Americans will get sick due to foodborne illness or food poisoning? 28,000 people will be hospitalized, and every day 8 people in the United States will die because of something that they ate. Only about 20% of all foodborne illness actually happens from something that's prepared in a home kitchen. But we need to keep in mind a bunch of food is a great time to gather and celebrate, and food is often associated with those celebrations. It's important, though, that we take a few minutes to think about some food safety steps that we can take to make sure that the food that we serve our families that are important to consider for food safety are to clean, separate, cook, and chill. You want to make sure that all surfaces and your hands are clean before you start food preparation. Wash your hands with soap and water for a minimum of 20 seconds. Sing your ABCs. I teach my preschoolers to sing their ABCs. 20 seconds, you want to scrub your hands. And you also want to dry them using either a paper towel or a clean dishcloth. Dishcloths are really good to keep around in the kitchen, but make sure that they're clean and that you only use them once before you dispose of them and get a clean, another clean surfaces. Make sure your surfaces, your countertops, all of your utensils, your cutting boards are cleaned and sanitized. You can sanitize your counter. There are a lot of products on the market that you can use, or you can get a simple bottle, a spray bottle, add a teaspoon of bleach to a quart of water. Mild bleach solution, you can spray that on your countertops, and that will actually kill any bacteria that may be lingering around from your turkey that you have thawed. The second step is to keep everything separate. You want to keep your raw and your ready-to-eat foods separate. That includes in your refrigerator. Turkey that's thawing is not mixed or above the vegetables that you maybe have for your side dishes. You want to cook everything to the appropriate temperature. I have the USDA's graphic for the proper internal cooking temperatures here that you can see. So you want cooking temperature of 165 degrees. Beef, you want to cook to 160 degrees. Pork and veal, you can cook to 145 degrees. The way that you're going to test that is by using a food thermometer. When you purchase a food thermometer, you want to make sure that it has, but you want to make sure that it actually has the different varying degrees written on there, that it doesn't just have a range for pork, a range for beef, because you want to know what the actual temperature is. The ones that we recommend go from at least 0 degrees up to 220 degrees. Thermometer. You're going to take it and you put it through the shield so that you're not touching any of the metal part. If you touch the metal part when you use the thermometer, you're actually going to be taking your temperature, okay? So if this was a hamburger patty, I will take the probe of my thermometer and insert it. It's a lot easier to do on that though. At least 2 inches or into the thickest part of the meat away from the bone. Bones are conductors of heat, and you'll actually get a higher reading if you're close to a bone. So away from the bone in the thickest part of the meat, and then you're going to take the third step is to chill everything. You know, we like to eat, we like to have a big casserole or your turkey. Chances are not all of that is going to get eaten during your Thanksgiving or your Christmas dinner. So the thing to remember is that you want to keep everything refrigerated as long as possible, and then you want to put it about 2 hours is the maximum time it needs to be out at room temperature. So once you pull that turkey from the oven, the time's going to start ticking, and you want to get that refrigerated back in the refrigerator within 2 hours. If you have any other questions about food safety, feel free to email us agrilifeanswers@dentoncounty.com. Thanksgiving is a time of year that I get a lot of questions regarding food safety of thawing your turkey. How long does it take to thaw your turkey? What's the best way to thaw your turkey? I even had one lady one time that called and seriously asked me if she could thaw her turkey in the toilet. She had forgotten to thaw it in time. She said she was going to be using her sink for turkey, so she asked if she started with a clean toilet, if she could thaw it in her turkey in the commode, and flush it like every 20 minutes for a fresh bowl. She had seriously thought through the process. Of course, I told her that I could not recommend that she thaw her turkey in the toilet, but thawing your turkey. This video, produced by our Foods and Nutrition group at Texas A&M University, will explain to you how to properly thaw a turkey.
Howdy, I'm Danielle Kruger, Regimen Specialist with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. With Thanksgiving just right around the corner, many of us are planning to cook our traditional turkey dinners. But before we can cook the turkey and those delicious side dishes, we need to safely thaw our turkey. Let's look at how one family might thaw their turkey.
The number one rule to remember when thawing your turkey is to never do so at room temperature. Thawing at room temperature increases the possibility of bacteria growth, which can do not thaw your turkey overnight on the counter, in the bathtub, in the dishwasher, or anywhere similar. Creativity does not count when it comes to food safety. Even if it seems that it is cold enough outside to thaw your turkey, there are a few ways that are acceptable, but the safest way to thaw a turkey is in the refrigerator. Following this chart is the best way to predict how many days in advance you should keep it in there to be fully thawed by Thanksgiving Day. Remember to make sure and to place it in a shallow container on the bottom shelf to prevent juices, which can be full of bacteria, from dripping on and contaminating other foods.
USDA recommends for every 4 to 5 pounds, you allow 24 hours of. This means if you plan on buying a 20-pound turkey, you'll need at least 5 to 6 days of thaw time. Plan on buying your turkey at least 6 days before the Thanksgiving holiday. This is the safest way to thaw your turkey in order to prevent foodborne illness. Memorable for all the right reasons. From our family here at the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service to yours, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
We've been seeing sporadic outbreaks of armyworms around Denton. About every 4 weeks, it seems that we're getting another batch of these worms eating everything that they can. Now, this guy doesn't look that vicious. What makes our